Cairo.
Pavel is a former senior director of President Obama's National Security Council. He's currently at the Atlantic Council, where he is international security analyst. Pavel, if you had the president's ear, what would your advice be to him? Strike or not?
My advice would have been to strike a few days ago.
Why?
Because when you're trying to restore deterrence, it's right from the literature. You need a swift and severe sort of retaliatory strike to make it clear that the costs of violating the threshold, in this case, the president's stated red line of chemical weapons use, really weapons of mass destruction, you want to make it clear that the costs of doing so way outweigh the benefits. And if you're just going to engage in a very delayed military response and one that doesn't really cause that much damage or pain to the decision makers, then you're not going to achieve the objective, and you might as well not even try.
His military advisors have told him that it's not a time-sensitive issue, that the targets could still be hit next week, next month.
The targets can always be hit, and that's an operational military question. But what we're talking about in terms of restoring deterrence, that's a political military question. It's a strategic question. You need to make it clear in the eyes of those who've made the violation that they shouldn't be doing so again. So you need a swift punishment and a severe punishment.
You've given a title to this whole motion that's currently in process, which tells its own story. Operation Slow Motion Pinprick, you've called it. I get the slow motion part, and I suppose that's the diplomacy you're talking about. Is the pinprick the military part, the part where military airstrikes on their own may not have the desired effect that the rest of the world wants to see, namely Bashar al-Assad stepping down? Is that the pinprick element of this statement of yours?
That's the pinprick element. And again, not to be academic, but right from the deterrence literature, the other element is you want to make, you don't want the adversary to know exactly what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. It's called the threat that leaves something to chance. And so when we have the President of the United States himself basically signaling this isn't going to be a very significant air campaign, it's not going to have these goals or other goals, it's only going to be focused on this, that doesn't achieve the effect you're talking about. That doesn't leave something to chance. It doesn't tell President Assad you have something to worry about. It says the opposite. It says you have nothing to fear. And so what do we think will happen in his mind after this is over? Doesn't sound like a very strong deterrent to me.
What do you think is going to happen on the 9th of September when this debate begins in Congress? What are the chances of Congress giving President Obama their backing?
I think they're about 50-50. My understanding is the Senate will be with the president and that the House is a toss-up. And in the House in particular, you have the Tea Party, which is very strong, and I don't remember the last time they were very significant supporters of President Obama on anything.
Pavel, we very much appreciate the analysis. Thank you.
My pleasure.